Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Ultimate Review by Purecast9. In today's episode, I'm going to give you the most in-depth and unbiased review of the Insta Blast from a company called Instaplay. So the awesome folks over at Instaplay reached out to me and they asked me, would you like to review this speaker of ours? And I was like, of course, send it over. So they did. So I just want to make it clear that this is not a paid promotion. I'm not being paid any money by Instaplay. I'm simply allowed to review this unit. So I have the liberty of saying everything that I like about this speaker and the few things that they can improve upon. With that said, let's get started. So first, let's get the specs and the build out of the way. So in terms of specs, the Insta Blast is a 50 watt RMS speaker and the company claims that it produces 10 times more sound compared to other speakers. And I'll give you my verdict on that when we finish the sound test. Apart from this, it rocks Bluetooth version 5, has an inbuilt 3000 mAh battery. It also has inbuilt FM. And as for connectivity options, apart from Bluetooth, you have a micro SD card slot, a dedicated USB port where you can plug in your pen drive, and the aux port. Now, one unique feature is that it's got 3 knobs here. And apart from the volume knob, which obviously does the control of the volume, you've got 2 other knobs, the treble and the bass. Now, when you maneuver the treble knob, it basically manipulates the higher frequencies. So it makes your music or voice sound sharper. And with the bass knob, it's obvious you can control the amount of bass that you want. Now, in my testing, in this test, which I will do, and in my previous testing at home, I've always kept the treble and the bass at 50% just to have a rough idea of how it performs, because without the treble, it sounds a tad bit blunt, and with it completely at 100%, it sounds way too much. And same with the bass. So 50% is the sweet spot. So having said that, in terms of the build, it is all plastic. The 2 sides of the speaker are where the speaker drivers are housed. So on one side, which has the LEDs as well, on this side, you have a speaker driver which mainly produces the mids and a bit of the bass. On the other side, you have a dedicated tweeter which produces only the high frequencies. And below that, you have a bass port which pushes out all the air and produces another half of the bass. Now, as for the LEDs, while they look nice, if you want to turn them off, there is really no way. So you've got to bear with that. Now, in the front, you have a fabric mesh. And this part, although looks like the front of the speaker, it houses no speaker drivers. So therefore, it produces no sound. It is just for show. The side which houses the LEDs, the side which produces the mids and a bit of the bass, this is the side that is comparatively louder than the other side which has a dedicated tweeter and the bass port. So a bit of a sound imbalance there, but it's something you live with. The build is not really robust. I'm scared that if I drop this, it will break or crack. So it's not really a rugged build, it's standard build. You can carry it with this loop or handle in the front, and it's not the lightest, and it's not ultra portable, but definitely you can carry it in your car and it's good for parties. Now let's get into the sound test. I'm going to play 2 tracks at max volume, keeping the treble and the bass knob at 50%. You guys listen, form your judgment, and once we are done, I'm going to come back and give you my verdict on how it performed in my studio and in my testing, and whether you should get this or not. So let's get straight into the sound test.
while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
So there you have it, guys. That was the sound test of the Insta Blast from Instaplay. First things first, this is absolutely built for parties. So if you have a medium-sized room or a medium-sized floor, outdoor party, not too huge a space but moderately big, this gets ridiculously loud and can cover a good area. So loudness, the speaker's got it covered. Now let's dissect the three frequencies. How did it produce the highs, the mids and the lows? Let's start with the highs. The highs are very, very sharp, very clear, very audible. For my taste though, I find that the sharpness of the highs are a bit on the higher side, too high for my taste, and you could play around with the treble to reduce that a bit. But if you reduce it below 50, it kind of sounds a bit blunt, but you just have to find a sweet spot where it sounds less irritating, or rather not irritating, but being audible. So highs, not bad by any means, but in general, it is a bit on the sharper side, which based on personal preference, you might enjoy. Now let's come to the mids, where the vocals are. Vocals again, very sharp, very, very bright, have a decent separation from the highs, but again, from my taste, I found that the vocals were a bit too much on the superficially sharpened side. So the vocals lose a bit of the natural warmth and richness and creep towards the higher side, where it sounds a bit shrill and a bit of sibilance creeps in. So you can get rid of this by reducing the volume, and that will solve a lot of it, because this speaker is really loud, so you don't need to play it at max volume unless you absolutely have to. So that problem goes away. But at max volume, there is crackling in the mids and a bit in the highs. So the speaker drivers are not really being able to keep up with the amount of power that they're trying to push out. So something you should keep in mind, but this is absolutely if you want to really nitpick and find the flaws. If it's just a party where you want loud music that everyone can just tap their feet to, this has got you covered. Now the bass. For a speaker of this size, you expect the bass to be very, very beefy, and the bass does not disappoint, nor does it overwhelm. So definitely there is a lot of bass, there is a punch to it, it is thick, it does resonate on the surface you keep it on. But the quality of the bass, I wouldn't say is mind-blowing. There could be improvement in the richness and the depth of the bass, which this lacks. But having said that, again, this is me really going in depth. For general parties, this really packs a punch. It's loud, it's sharp, and it's audible. If you want, you can turn the bass knob all the way to maximum and get even more thump, albeit at a loss of quality, but it still give you that punch. If I had to just judge for a party speaker, I would definitely give this a 4.5 out of 5. Okay, because I'm not considering too much of the quality there. I'm considering all the connectivity options, the RGB lights, even it's gimmicky, it's at least there. Insane loudness, punchy bass, really sharp highs, and very, very sharp mids. So the throw of the volume is going to be huge for parties. So from that aspect, this definitely hands down is great as a party speaker. That's been my honest and in-depth review of the Insta Blast from Instaplay. You will not be disappointed if you get this speaker, if you keep in mind those points that I said, and depending on the preference and why you're getting it. So the link to this is in the description below. I would really appreciate that if you do decide to buy this speaker, please use that link. It'll cost you zero extra, but it will help me run this channel and I can produce more and more content just for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit like on this video, share this with your friends, subscribe to Purecast 9, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.